Hey everybody, it's Colby from Sanitarian Productions. It's been a little while since we've done another video, so I thought today we'd do something a little special here. So I've been collecting G.I. Joe and action figures and things like that for quite a while. One of the things that I actually like is the vehicles themselves. So one of the things I enjoy about that part is actually just the actual restoration process. Taking a vehicle and putting it back together the way it used to be. So I was looking around and I found this piece right here. This is the X19 Phantom stealth jet from the G.I. Joe line. This particular piece I actually had, I got it from a friend of mine, I guess my cousin. So I got this piece from one of my cousins. They had our yard sale one year, and just got this piece off of him, and also got the Retaliator helicopter. But as you can see, it's a little bit beat up. Got a little bit of wear and tear on it. It's a little dusty, as you can tell here. And it's also missing a lot of parts. Essentially, it has this one little green missile right here, and this one little gun right here. But that's pretty much all it's got. I do have Footloose in here from Slaughter's Marauders in there. He's actually been sitting in there for a pretty good long time right now, so he's got a little dust on him as well. The piece itself came pretty much the way it is, as you see it right here. It didn't have anything with it, and I guess because of that, I never really did anything with it when I was growing up. Pretty much just got the piece, and it ended up going into the closet. As you can see, it's kind of big, and if you don't have anything else to go along with it, it's kind of plain and not that big of a, not that cool or exciting of a toy when you're missing parts and pieces of it. As you can see here, the wheels are not in the best shape. I'm actually missing a couple of them here. The decals, they look okay, but they're not exactly in the right place on all of them, and it's just got a lot of grime and wear on it. So what I was doing is I actually got on eBay. I know some people cringe when I say that word, and my bank account does too sometimes. But what I found was this awesome little package right here. Somebody had the complete parts and pieces still sealed in the shipping bag. So this is basically what came out of the box when it was brand new. As you can see, there's the little catalog in there. There's the blueprints, the sticker sheet, everything else is pretty much in here and kind of all together. Some of the pieces, as you probably can't tell from there, but I'll get a couple of close-up shots of this. But there's a few of these things where the parts and pieces are kind of falling off the little sprongs here. But they're still in here. It's still sealed. There's no holes in it, so it's in really good shape. There's also the pilot I see in here, which is Slipstream, I believe is the name, with his little red scarf and everything. And it looks to be still sealed in the bag inside of that. So what I thought I'd do, since I won this auction for a very good price, I thought I would go ahead and pull this thing out and clean it up a little bit, and we're going to put it back together for you. So there's still decals and everything in here. They look to be a little bit dirty, just because of the fact they've been sitting in there for, what, 15 years? Much like the actual piece itself here, it's actually been sitting in storage for 15 or 20 years. I guess I probably got this piece in like 1992, 93, I don't know, something like that. But it's pretty much been as is since then. But I thought we'd take some time, clean this piece up, put it back together, and go from there. So what I'm going to do is kind of go through this whole process with you all, give you a little tip, and give you some tips and tricks along the way, show you some of the things that I do to kind of restore a piece like this. We're going to go through here, clean the entire thing as well as we can, try to remove all the old stickers off of it, clean up some of like the glass piece. Speaking of the glass pieces, one thing I did not see when I was looking in the bag here, it actually does have the cockpit itself, but I don't see anywhere in here the actual blue glass piece that goes onto the cockpit. I'm going to just assume because of that it actually shipped in a different piece. Maybe there was another bag inside of the whole package somewhere that had that stuff. But anyway, since I couldn't find that, I knew I was going to need it, so I got on the eBay again, which, you know, it's a great place to find things. I actually found this old cockpit piece that actually has the glass intact on it, which fits on here rather nicely and just slides in there. But it is a little scratched up and looks a little dingy and grimy, and so we're going to clean it up too. I'm going to try to show you all a couple of tricks to try to make this thing more like a showcase piece than the condition it's in right now, which is pretty lackluster. So just to kind of give you some scale here, I also have Captain Ace from the 25th anniversary line. For scale here, you can kind of see, I don't know if he'll stand here or not. He'll stand there. But it's pretty well, this thing should fit 25th anniversary figures just as well as it does the old vintage figures. And hey, look, Footloose is coming out to play. So let's see if he's seen. So I don't know if y'all noticed or not, but the new line is actually closer to the 4-inch scale than it is 3 3/4. So there are some vehicles out there that the new line won't fit because some of the pieces are just way too small. Some of the newer vehicles that they've kind of remade, they've actually changed the molds a little bit to actually accommodate the bigger size figures that they have out now. One that comes to mind is the water moccasin. The old one was a little cramped anyways, but there's no way you get one of these size figures in there nowadays. So when they redid that one, they kind of enlarged it a little bit and kind of scooted some things around a little bit. We'll do that in another video and kind of show you all the differences. But so that's pretty much the plan here, is to take this piece, get it cleaned up, get it back into working condition, and see if it'll fly. Stay tuned. So we'll see if we can get some close-up pictures here to show you all a little bit better. So this is the actual package itself. As you can see, all the little parts and pieces are in here. You can see there is the figure that came with it, with his little red scar. You've got the blueprints in here, you've got the catalog, sticker sheets under here. That's pretty much it. Here is the actual ship itself. Let's see if we can move this stuff around here. It's the back of it and the front of it. As you can see, it's a little dusty in here, but we're going to fix all that up. There's Captain Ace, and I don't know if you can see it a little bit better here, but that's the canopy. See the scratches in it. We're going to clean that up a little bit. See if we can't make it much nicer. Cool. We'll go ahead and flip it over here. These are the wheels. You see the rubbers coming off of some of them. This one over here is actually missing a wheel
all together. I don't really know how this works, but kind of folds up like that, and I'm assuming there's another piece that covers that, and it should be in that bag, we're hoping, like this one right here. But it's a little scuffed up, it's a little scratched up. We're going to fix it up and make it be awesome again. Alright, so we're going to start by trying to take this thing apart. So first thing I'm going to do is just remove the loose pieces, and I'll just throw them over here. Take footloose out. So we're going to flip this thing up, actually. And I'm not too worried about, damaging these accessory pieces, but, you do have to be careful that you don't break tabs and things like that. But since I got the big bin of parts, I'm not too awful worried about it, since that's really the only piece we got. Anyways, but what we're going to do is we're going to take this thing apart, and then we're going to give it all the separate pieces a good cleaning. And for this particular one, there are actually screws on the bottom here. There's one, a couple over here, so we got to take those out first. Now what I'd like to do, I keep a ice cube tray to put screws in, so I know where they're going and where they came out of. But looks like there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws in here, so let's go ahead and just take them all out. Now when you're disassembling things like this, you want to be careful not to break any of the little tabs or pieces or anything like that, because again, these things were made in the 80s and some of them in the 90s and things like that, but that does make them a little bit fragile. So just be careful when you're doing it. And there's one of the screws. We want to keep those. There's luckily no damage to the screws that I can tell. They're not rusted or anything like that, so shouldn't be that big of a deal. Go ahead and get these out and see what else we got to do on this. Luckily all of these are going to be the same size, so I'm not really having to worry about which ones go where. Just get them out. Most of these G.I. Joe vehicles don't actually use screws too very often, but since this piece is fairly big and kind of bulky, I guess they decided to put these in here just to make sure everything held together correctly. And there we go, there's the last screw. Next thing we would want to do would be pop these wheels off. And there are, let's see if we can get this in front here, small little tabs in here that kind of hold everything in place. So just, you're going to have to push down and pull, and they just pop right off. And there's the wheel removed. We'll throw that to the side. It should be the same for these two back pieces. Just kind of, well, push down on one side and kind of pull a little bit. Just be careful not to break anything, because that thing's in there pretty tight. There, just like that. And of course there goes the phone ring, and so we're going to stop right there. And we're back. Never fails that as soon as you get tied up with something, that's when the phone wants to ring. Anyway, so we got that one out. We got one more set of wheels to pull off. Hopefully no broken tabs while we do this. These things are a bit of a bear. That one actually came out pretty easily. So as you can see there, the wheels, actually this one ain't in too bad a shape. They're just off the rollers, but that's okay. And just looking at them, all of the wheels are actually the same. Well, they're not the same, are they? So there's one that has the really big one. That's the one that goes in the front, obviously. And then the two at the sides, they actually pivot, which is kind of cool. I hadn't realized that before, but they do pivot. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't know how to get these doohickeys off, but we'll not worry with that. The next thing we got to do is to pop off any little tabs on the backside that we can find. I see two on the back here that's going to have to untabulate and see if we can get them out. Sometimes these things are kind of difficult, but just find a corner and go from the corner pretty much. This one came off pretty easily. That one, not so much. So some people have recommended using something like I don't know, baby oil to help and loosen up these parts and things like that. So if we get to a point where they're really stuck on there, we'll see about using that. But for right now, we're just going to go ahead and pop off all these that we can without anything. And sometimes you gotta just really get in here. So there's one right here that we gotta pop off. That's pretty well stuck on there too. Sometimes you can pry them out. I just don't want to break this thing. But if you can't find a good spot for the first one, you'll find a different spot and try there. And snap. It didn't break, it just snapped apart, which is what it's supposed to do. And then theoretically, we can come over to this side now. There we go, use leverage on it. Then this last one on the back should just snap. And that one's being a pain. There we go, snap. And voila! There is the undercarriage. So as you can see here, the wheel mechanisms are actually held in place by a couple of rubber bands. That's kind of cool. Front and the back there, so I'm going to have to look about replacing those at some point. And now you can see the good side there. So there is that. And then once that happens, here's a whole big mess of other things in here. Engine block pops apart. You can see all the dust in here. That's what we're trying to get in here to do, is to clean that up so we don't have a whole bunch of dust bunnies living inside of our new put together vehicle. And you can see it just basically just comes right apart now. We may have to, here's a couple more tabs. That thing's a little bit of a nuisance. Again, just kind of work it and go. There. As you can kind of see on this one anyways, they're looks to have been 2 rail systems. One of them's missing on this thing, so should be one in the box there. So there's that piece. Now all these things are apart, sorry. You got these little tabs on this blue plastic lens that I really don't like. This is the one thing that I don't have a spare for. So just be extra careful when you're taking it apart. There's that. And then this one last. There we go. Green doohickey. And there we go. There is everything disassembled, ready for a good washing. Stay tuned, we'll be back with more.